Hey, it's MK, and I am here with the 31 days of Cut Files with MK and Janet. And today we are on day 3 of the Stack It Up, and we've got this really cool airplane window. And I decided that I was going to cut it multiple times. I know I've never done this before. I usually use it in its entirety, but I've already pre-done my airplane because I wasn't sure if this is how I was going to like it, but I will show you guys how I actually put it together. But for the intro, it was already done. I apologize. I went out of order. But I also cut it 4 more times, and I kept the clouds as well as just the windows, but I didn't need 4 airplane wings, or 5, I guess I should say. I also picked out a couple of washi tapes. I don't really remember where I got them, but I think the gray one, which I don't end up using, is from a superhero set. Something tells me it's Batman. From October Afternoon, I have a couple little scraps that I'm hoping to incorporate to bring in some more yellow from my son. And then I also have a couple airplane pieces that were sitting on my desk from my June counterfeit kit. Yay! And then I have an acrylic arrow from Pear Tree Paper Crafts. I've got some leftover labels from a paper pumpkin kit. And then from My Mind's Eye in 2010, I have these little punch out pieces. From Scraptastic, from the Scraptastic Club, I have these little tiny word stickers. And when I first picked them out, I thought I picked out 2 or 3 words or stickers, but I didn't. And then I pulled out this old Close to My Heart sticker set. It came in their little like brag book type of kit, but then I realized that the blue was all wrong, so I don't end up using that either. And in my last airplane that I took, we were so above the clouds that I was actually able to see our shadow, and I thought that was the neatest thing ever. So I took a couple pictures and just for fun, I didn't realize I was going to make a double page, but for fun, I decided that I was going to make a layout of the fact that we could see our shadow in the clouds. I also have this printed piece, and it is from a Close to My Heart kit. I want to say it's from their last travel kit that they did, which I think was Pack Your Bags, but don't quote me on that. I do not remember. And then I have 2 of these sheets here. They're these really cool dark blue tone-on-tone colors, and they're from Chamel Field Trip. They've got these little alien ships on the other side, and I'm looking for the name Out There. Yes, and this paper definitely was Out There. When I first picked them both up, I thought, oh, do I really want to use both of these? Because, Field Trip was my favorite, and I had 2 to 3 pieces of each piece, and when I flipped it over and saw the alien ship, I thought, you know what? Yeah, I can use both of these. So I'm going to end up using both of these. And then I have a sticker sheet from the same Close to My Heart travel collection that the polka dot paper was from. So I'm going to go off camera, and I am going to frame my pictures inside my extra airplane windows while I show you guys how I created my airplane cut file. Does that make sense? So I'm going to use some Hickory Smoke ink and just use my blender, and I should have left this on the mat, but I didn't think about that when I first started cutting it. And so I'm going very gently around, and I decided to use all of them all in one so I could get those very teeny tiny little frame pieces. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do the window as well as the shutter shade. And then I am going to back my wing on this. I want to say it was Tim Holtz 6x8 stack, but I don't remember, you guys. It was in my scraps, and it was just the perfect color of whitish gray that I was looking for, because planes aren't exactly white, but yet they can be perceived as exactly white. So I wanted mine to be not so white. Then I used a shimmer paper that is from Creative Memories from way back in the day before they came back a third time. And that way my clouds have a slight little shimmer to them. And then I'm going to take the little handle for the shutter shade, and I didn't have any gray cardstock at the time. You guys have been seeing me use gray cardstock since then, but I just went ahead and used the same ink and created my own white paper using the shimmer paper instead because it was the white cardstock or the white scrap that I had available. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of my pieces together ever so gently, just using little dabs of glue. And then I'm going to use this scrap paper from the 49 and Market, I want to say Wanderlust Explorer collection. I keep getting these confused because I have a set from Celebrate that was from 2024, I want to say. And then I have a set from the Wanderlust. They are similar, but they're not the same. I love the fact that they are like that because now I have a larger collection to work with. I just get confused as to which one is from which paper, and I didn't share it with you guys because it was a scrap and I'm just using it in the background. I do end up using it on another window. I'm basically pretending like that shade is closed. Even though I do realize that when I put this together, it wasn't until I went to go put my pictures together that the shade should have went underneath my frame. Because in the window, they're inside the frame, right? They're not outside. And I didn't realize that while I was creating this, but then I went with it because I'd made this one. I can't unmake it. I could have made it again. Yes, I could have, but I just kept going. So now all of my shades are on the outside, which is fine. It really is. It just kind of messed up the one that I wanted to show closed. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, so for all my extra clouds, I'm going to cut off the sun so that way I can scatter these clouds throughout my layout and then make it look like my airplane is flying through the sky, right? That's my brain thinking going on here. I actually tried to look for cloud paper in my paper stash. You guys, oddly enough, I don't have a lot of paper. Is that weird? I bet if I put all of my paper together, it is probably only 8 inches high. I know, it's sad. It really, really is. But I don't have a whole lot of paper in my stash. I probably have more embellishments than I do paper. But when you look at it, it looks like I have a ton of paper. I couldn't find a single cloud paper to save my life, let alone 2. So that's why I went with this and decided to put my own clouds on the paper. All right, so my polka dot paper is going to represent the body of my airplane. Yes, it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I just cut it down to 6 inches. Well, it wasn't exactly fully 12 by 12. It was just a hair shy of 12 by 12. And so I guesstimated that I cut it exactly in half, right? Just to let you know. So if my pages don't line up when I put them side by side, that's why. And that is also another reason why I distress the edges too, because then when they're not perfect, it's just because the edge distressor didn't distress them exactly the same. That's my excuse. And then I wanted to frame out my airplane, make it look like, it's got that, like it's 3D with the shine on the top. When you look at an airplane, you can see that it's domed and it's shiny. And so I decided to go with the gold on this. It's blue and gold striped washi tape. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. That gives me my shine that I need for the airplane body. All right. So I'm making stuff up as I go, you guys. I really, really am. But I had so much fun with this layout. It definitely brought me back to my Cricut days when I used to build layouts with my Cricut. Like I used to design it on the Gypsy. Do you guys remember the Gypsy? I probably couldn't use that thing to save my life. Oh my gosh. But the screen, I used to build classes with it and show everybody, what you could do with the welding and the contour cave and all that stuff. And I think the Gypsy was also with the computer program, the Design Studio, I think is what it was called. Anyways, yeah. And I mean, I never got the hang of the Design Studio. I wanted to, never did. And then when they came out with the Create Room or Creative Space or whatever that was called, I still couldn't do it. I still loved my Gypsy. But now with Design Studio, bam, I am all over that. It is so much easier. It's all in color because the Gypsy wasn't. The Gypsy was like, you saw a grid and a bunch of lines and you had to pretend like you knew what you were doing, but it just looked like a blueprint and it just all came so awesome. I don't know, but I used to teach classes with the Gypsy and it was so much fun. And this brought those memories back to me. Like I just was smiling the whole time, remembering, especially a specific class that got very detailed, just remembering all of the times that I did and how far we've come with this style of scrapbooking, right? With the cut files and the images and all that stuff. And you could basically do your whole layout with all these fun little images without having to purchase a single thing from the store. Not that I'm telling you guys don't do that, because, clearly I want you guys to keep, keep us in business, please. We appreciate all of you. But honestly, that is why I bought my first Cricut. It is because I wanted to be able to not rely on the stores when I get that age and a limited income, right? I was trying to think ahead. That's why I bought the that big ass machine. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't say that word. I apologize, you guys. I bought that big machine that printed the paper from Cricut that only lasted, a year? So that way I could print my own paper when that time came. But I have to tell you guys, it went out of stock. It went out of the world so fast, like it was a bad idea. And it's like, well, that really wasn't a bad idea. But then again, you could buy the digital papers and you can print so many other paper. And yeah, it was fabulous. It was amazing. So anyways, and I don't even know if that big machine still works anymore, but I do have it. It's in a Foot Locker. Maybe I'll try it one day and see if I can even get it to turn on. I don't know. It might need an update that's not supported anymore in order for it to recognize anything. But I still have my cartridges. I still have, all the things, so I could possibly do that one day. But you never know. All right. So for my clouds, I went ahead and I spread them out to make it look like my plane. And I do apologize for saying the naughty word, you guys. I do. I really apologize. But I want my plane to look like it's flying through the clouds, right? Because my pictures, we're above the clouds and I can see our shadow. That is just the coolest thing ever, you guys. I'm sorry. I think it's neat. And then I am putting back the negative pieces. Instead of backing my file, I just saved my negative pieces. And now I'm popping them up so my clouds look like they're fluffy and dimensional, right? I'm also going to finish off my plane with a couple yellow pieces. And then because I didn't get my shutter to work the way that I wanted it to, I'm going to go ahead and put all of my embellishments down where the shutter should be, right? I couldn't figure that out. So I just went ahead and threw those pieces away and made this a solid frame to where it looked like it was a closed window on an airplane, like that person's sleeping. And then I'm going to use the yellow section all the way on the right for my journaling, right? So that's where it's going to say that, because all of my years flying, all of them, I have never, ever caught our shadow, right? I have never seen that before. It was almost like the sun was on the right side of the plane and I was sitting on the right side of the plane, and I just happened to look at the right time, like every incident lined up in order for me to do that, because sometimes I don't pay attention. Sometimes, it's dark. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. So, at least those three things had to line up just perfectly in order for me to catch this. And I just think it's kind of cool. Have any of you guys ever caught the shadow of your airplane in order to, thought that it was the neatest thing, that you're so far up, but yet you can still see your shadow? I don't know, you guys. To me, that is just not mind-boggling, but awesome. Like, that is just so awesome. Okay, so I'm going to also do a little bit of embellishing down here because I cut my clouds crooked and they looked ugly. I tried to washi tape them together and then recut them, but I didn't cut them that crooked, so it was just a little sliver, and I made it worse. So I decided, you know what? When you make a mistake, you just embellish more, right? So now I have a cute little thing down there. I'm finally using this little wooden heart thing that says "Adventure Awaits" with the airplane. I picked that up off of a give take table. There was actually 6 of them, and I shared 3 with Janet, and I have 3 for myself. I am down to 1 more. Yay. But I didn't want to put them all on, like the same year's albums, right? I don't want them all to be repeated and repetitive. So I'm going to have to hold on to that specific one for, at least a year or 2, or put it back on a give take table, right? Because I've already used 2 of them. And then I also found in my stash, which I wasn't going to use, but it's this little airplane with the heart, and it says on my way, or on our way. And that is actually from 2023's Advent calendar. Yes, 2023's Advent calendar. Apparently, I did not hardly use any of my Advent calendar goodies like I did last year. So hopefully this year, when we have the Advent calendar, I will be able to use all of the goodies and just share with you guys how I perceive them, right? And hopefully you guys like them. So I also have this little airplane. It's got a little line and a little heart above it. And it is supposed to go up and down. But because all of my arrows are coming in, they're not going up and down, they're going in like showing movement on my page, I decided to flip and turn my little airplane wood veneer as well. So that one is also going to. I do like the fact that I added a little bit of yellow to this, because I have yellow on my wing, I have yellow in the what is that object? In the sun. And so bringing in a little bit more yellow, or I should say a lot more yellow, actually brings your eyes to those objects, but it brings it to the point where it goes all the way across the page. It's not like a little spot here and a little spot there. It just flows all the way across the page. And then I am going to bring in a little bit more blue. That is why I brought this Close to My Heart sticker sheet in, just because of the fact that I did want to bring in some of these arrows and show that, directional movement of some sort. There are a couple things that I chose not to use, like the paper clip and the sticker sheet from Close to My Heart, things like that I chose not to use. Just because of the fact that I already had 3 airplanes, like I have 3 wood veneer airplanes already on the layout. The paperclip would have looked a little weird. I have 4 wings of a plane because I've got them in my pictures, but then I also have it in my cut file. And then of course I brought in a little passport, another little heart, because now I have hearts going on as well. So I have a heart that is in a loopy on my wood veneer, and then I have the heart for the Adventure Awaits little sticker. So I added in another little heart, because that heart in front of my little airplane stick thing, I don't know what it's called. Now that I've turned it on its side, it doesn't look like a heart anymore. It just kind of looks like an abstract dot in front of my airplane. And so I felt like I needed to add another heart. And because my acrylic arrow is gray, I wanted to add another gray heart. And I wasn't sure if I should have brought the arrows going to the left on this particular page, because that's the way my airplane is flying. But in actuality, I did that because my airplane is flying, my wood veneer airplane is flying to the right. So that's why I put my arrows on that way. And now I've got both my arrows going in both directions, drawing your attention to the center of the page. Not that there's anything special to that center of page, but it brings your attention to the pictures and whatnot as well. All right, you guys, so that is my layout for today. I really did have fun reminiscing about the days of Cricut and how I used to build my layouts straight from a gypsy, and just have these really cool, fun build-a-pages, right? Because they come together so quick and easy, and then you get like this little scene and whatnot. It's just so fun. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Please don't forget to check out Janet Fritz's channel, who is Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube. She's just my partner here on YouTube. So don't forget to go and share the love over on her channel, which is Galaxy Girl Creations. And also don't forget to check out the links that we have down below for our playlist as well as our Facebook group. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much. And I will check you guys all later. Bye.